overheated inside the car on the thing, so I switched it to the other side in the hopes that the sun wouldn't be beating down. But when I say that life during climate change is so different, like it's so different from the life that we have been living before this, it's very interesting. I just feel like in the future we'll have notes on this kind of stuff. But as I was saying, I was tying what I've Been That Girl Too was saying about men and how you know how to recognize a healthy man, like an emotionally healthy man. That's probably going to be a good choice for a relationship as opposed to one who is not. As I said before, follow her channel. I think it's the same name on YouTube. I've Been That Girl Too, but definitely that's the name of her page on Instagram. So I definitely encourage following her. But what she was saying was a man who is a good man is a good man to women, period. There aren't any conditions to it. And she made it very clear that you want to steer clear of men who have a lot of conditions under which they can be good to women. Because once you are outside of those conditions, if for any reason you happen to be outside of those conditions, then in his criteria, that means he does not have to be good to you either. So if someone can only be good to people conditionally, then they are not a good person. So what I was beginning to say before we overheated and the live was stopped because my phone overheated was that I believe that many people within Abrahamic traditions, as well as many people who have a specific level of education, as well as many people who have a specific socioeconomic position that they hold, use those as reasons to look down on other people. And they make their acceptance of people conditional based on those things. If your acceptance of people is conditional, you need to search yourself and find out why. What does another human being have to do for you to accept them and to show compassion towards them? If it is conditions for things that are actually outside of their control, then you are not actually a good person. What I mean by that, and the example that I was giving is that I am pro Black woman. Point blank, period, full stop. That's it. I am pro the Black women who are S workers. I am pro the Black women who have to scam in order to eat every day. I am pro the Black women who may have anatomical differences from me. I am pro the Black women who have kids. I am pro the Black women who don't have kids. I'm pro Black women across the board. There aren't any conditions attached to it. And when I've said that in the past, I've gotten a lot of pushback because people believe that being pro Black women does not include S workers. And they're like, well, if you're pro S workers, then you're bringing Black women down. No, I'm being pro Black women. When I judge someone else's circumstances, then I am not being realistic. All of us under a patriarchal system, every Black woman and femme is an S worker. And that is just facts. If you choose not to believe it, that's fine. All of us have delusions that we entertain. But your choosing not to believe it does not make it reality. The reality is that every woman under the patriarchy is an S worker. Wife is a type of S worker. A girlfriend is a type of S worker. Every woman under the patriarchy is objectified and has part of her humanity stripped from her. And therefore, when she is engaging in the sexual act, not being viewed as a human being, but is being viewed as a thing, as an object. So all of us under this system are S workers. So for me to say I'm looking down on that particular type of S worker is only allowing people to see how deep in the delusion of patriarchy I am. For me to say I'm looking down on a Black woman who is quote unquote scamming the system and getting government assistance when I have student loans, which is still government assistance, when the houses that I've bought with VA loans and FHA loans, and all those things are government assistance. Those things are government assistance as well. But when I try to qualify and say, well, I look down on Black women that get this specific type of government assistance because I get this specific type of government assistance, that's a delusion. That's a delusion. Nobody is existing. Hear me, hear me. I'm going to say this clearly. I want you to hear what I'm saying. Nobody is existing in the United States of America without government assistance. Every government body is assistance. When the banks receive a bailout, that is welfare. That is assistance. When farmers receive a bailout, that is welfare. That is assistance. When you receive student loans, that is welfare. That is assistance. Nobody is existing in the United States of America without government assistance. Nobody. There is nobody. I'm saying this as someone who used to work for the Department of Human Services. Everyone, the larger the corporation, the more government assistance, the more welfare they're getting. The larger the corporation, the more welfare they are getting. Nobody is existing in the United States without welfare. Everybody in the United States is on welfare. The richer people are on heavier welfare than the poorer people. And I'm saying that to say, when you qualify which human beings you are going to treat with love and respect over other human beings, then you are just not a good person. And you say, oh, my religion says that I can treat these people inhumanely, then your religion isn't good either. Not only are you not a good person, but you're also practicing a not good religion. If your religion says, I get to treat this group of people inhumanely. Because if you're a good person, you just don't treat people inhumanely. It doesn't come to your mind. You don't say, oh, I wish that there was a clause in my religion that allowed me to harm this person because of who they sleep with. I wish that there was a clause in my religion that allowed me to harm this person because of the color of their skin. I wish that there was a clause in my religion that would allow me to harm this person because of the political decisions that they make. If you are out here looking for a clause that is going to allow you to harm people, then you're not a good person. In Atlanta. So everywhere in Atlanta, you gotta pay to park. So I hope you guys can still see me and hear me because I am in a parking pavilion type of thing. So I'm gonna pull over and I'm gonna continue the video if y'all can still hear me. So I'm gonna check and see if y'all can still hear me once I have parked. And then we're gonna continue the video. If y'all can't, then we'll continue. Good person is a good person regardless. A good person does not require the threat of hell hanging over their head not to steal. Thank you so much. A little choppy. Is it choppy for you? Do me a little bit of yoga. Okay. We'll be outside in a second. So I'm going to gather my things. We're going to go out and get ready for our yoga for today. And as we get out of the parking lot, I'll continue with the message. Hold on and make sure I'm in this parking space. always allow yourself a deficit. Don't feel no kind of way if you're not good at every goddamn thing. Ain't nobody good at every goddamn thing. So I ain't good at parking, and I ain't good at math. Okay, getting ready for our yoga. Probably would have been nicer if I had gotten out here earlier. Frame that we made it out here. And this is always a little bit iffy trying to figure out how to get out of here. But we gonna make it do what it do either way. And I'm gonna finish the point I was making, but let us get out of this parking lot and into a space that feels more open before I finish the point. Make sure I got all my stuff before I walk all the way away. Yeah. Get down here in some grass. And then we gonna finish our discussion. Hold on, I'm gonna put myself. Pause y'all for a second to write myself a little note so that I can make sure I remember what level of this parking lot I'm on. Cause I would hate to get back over here and be unable to find my vehicle. That would be terrible. All right, people are mowing the grass. I don't know if that means I cannot sit on it, but we're gonna try to find us somewhere to sit. But what I was saying was that if you're a good person, you are a good person regardless. Your goodness does not require conditions. And here, when I use the term good, and I have to take the time to define it, because goodness has been weaponized against Black women. Being good is a tool that has been weaponized against us. So when I say good, and that's why I am qualifying in saying humane and considerate of others, that's what I'm talking about. When I say good, I don't mean good as in self-sacrificing, good as in you allow harm to come to yourself so that other people can feel good. That's not good, right? That is being abused, that is being used. And that's not what I'm talking about on any level. I think I'm going this other direction, honestly, because I think if I keep going this way, it's going to lead me to somewhere that I'm not trying to be. So we're going to go in this other direction. This way, actually. So when I say that you're being a good person, that's actually what I mean. But if you are a good person, if you are humane and considerate of others, then that is how you are. And as a teacher and as a mother, I feel very confident in saying that most people are born good. Most people are born good. Not everybody, but most people. Overall, the overarching status of most people is good. The overarching reaction of the human heart to others is consideration and humane treatment. And I'm saying this as someone who has taught people in various tumultuous situations for the past 30 years, right? I've been a teacher in juvenile detention centers.
I've been a teacher in low-income neighborhoods. I have taught programs in the projects. I have taught programs in areas that were considered bad areas. And as I observe and teach and interact with and am the authority figure for children in those areas, I can say without hesitation that most people are born good. Most people's reaction to the human condition is one of care and consideration and humane treatment. That is how most people automatically react to other human beings. So if you are a person that requires the threat of hell yawning before you in order to act good, then you are not a good person. If you are a person that requires conditions from other human beings in order to treat them humanely and to treat them with consideration, then you are just not a good person. People use their own religions and personal beliefs as a crutch and also as a reason to mistreat others. I can mistreat this person because they don't practice my religion. I can speak ill of this person who has done nothing to me because they don't practice my religion. I don't have to show this person respect or kindness or consideration because they don't practice my religion. When you're doing that, you're showing your character. You believe that you're showing the other person's character because you're calling them out for not practicing your religion. But if practicing your religion is the only reason that you can respect and show care for another person, then that shows your character, the flaw in your character. So as you are formulating your life, as you are formulating your own spiritual realities, as you are formulating the style and the religious construction and the type of life that you want to live, make sure that you're doing that for your own edification, for your own upliftment, not so that you can be in the position to talk down, look down, or mistreat others. Make sure that you're not just formulating a life that will allow you to do that, right? Many of us were trained to believe that whatever steps we were taking, whatever strides we were making that put us in the position over others, or where we believed or imagined ourselves to be over others, were the best steps to take. When you can imagine yourself over somebody else, then that means you have arrived. When you put yourself in a position where you believe that you then have the luxury of looking down on others, then you have arrived. When you put yourself in the position where you believe that you can instruct others on how to live their lives, then you have arrived. Many of us were raised like that. But I think that it is our responsibility when we reach adulthood to interrogate those ideas, to interrogate those beliefs that we were raised with. It's your responsibility when you know better and when you're put in a position to be able to see things differently, to interrogate those beliefs. Interrogate those beliefs. And by interrogate, I mean question them. I mean pull them out. Have a look at them. I mean dig through them and see, is this actually valid? Right? Is this actually valid? Is this a valid belief? Does this hold true in the face of actual life? Or is this just something that my parents believed? Is this just something that people who grew up with the same class structure as my parents believed? Is this just something that we were told to believe so that we would buy into the destructive system of capitalism? Is this just something we were told to believe so that we would buy into the destructive system of the patriarchy? Interrogate the beliefs. Many, many times we swear we're changing. I'm different. I'm being different. I'm doing different. I'm living a different life than my mother lived and her mother before her. I'm doing something different. And we mean better when we say different. But many of us say that we're doing that, and we've never taken the time to actually process through the beliefs that we had. And so many of us come into new spiritual systems or come into new organizations, and we bring the same classist and colorist and ableist and homophobic and fatphobic and transphobic beliefs that we were raised with. Many of us come and bring that same shit right on into some new shit that we're supposed to be creating. And I see it far too often. So it's part of, like I said, the thought that I had been having that I was trying to formulate fully in order to share with you guys, in order to make this video. Now, as I walk and stroll, I don't even know if I'm going to find a place to do my yoga, because I must say that as a woman alone in a park, as beautiful as the wooded areas are, they don't necessarily give safety. But at least I will have gotten my walk in, even if I have to wait to get home to do the yoga. So look deeply into the beliefs that you were raised with. Also, look deeply into your own behavior and your own thoughts and the conclusions that you're drawing about others around you, and ask yourself, what is informing those thoughts? What is informing that behavior? And what I mean by that is, what are those thoughts based on? Because many times people be believing that they acting in the best interest of somebody else, when in actuality their thoughts about that person are based on classism or colorism or fat phobia or something of that nature. Right? Because most of us were raised with those things as the foundational structure of our raising. You've heard me say many times that I come from a family with a history of disordered eating. So unless someone is asking me for dietary recommendations, I lean back from telling people what to eat and how to eat, because I know that what I eat and how I eat is informed by a structure that was disordered. That's what I mean when I say that. You cannot be raised black anywhere in the world and not have been raised on colorism. Right? Even those of us whose parents tried their best not to bring it into our household weren't able to protect us from it outside, right? In our schools, in our churches, in our offices. So if you're black, you were raised on the structure of colorism. And I'm saying that to say, when you're judging other black people, you need to take the time to check your thoughts and see if your judgment is based on colorism. Everybody living under a capitalistic system was taught to judge people based on their socioeconomic status, even though it's largely outside of our control. Capitalism is a horrible system that takes from all of us and keeps all of us from being able to be as comfortable and as safe as we would like to be. So when you're judging other people, when you're looking down on other people, when you're thinking that other people should be doing something different or better with their lives, it is your responsibility to check and make sure that that thought process is not based on classism, which is based in capitalism, right? When you're judging what this person should be doing with their money, you have to check and see, am I thinking about this from a classist perspective? It's your responsibility to check and see. So as you are moving through life, if you find that your judgment of, your acceptance of, and your view of other people is saying that there is a group of people that you don't have to be respectful towards, that you don't have to have care and compassion for, check it. Check and see if that's true. Check and see if that's true. I'm not talking about protecting yourself. When it comes to protection, then you have to make sure that you are protecting yourself from the ills of this society. So when I say treating people with kindness and consideration, I'm not talking about people who are harming you. People gonna use anything that you say to justify upholding abusers. So you always have to take the time to say, that's not what I'm talking about. So this is my moment of taking the time to say that. I'm not saying that if somebody is mistreating you or mistreating other people or mistreating children, that you have to be kind and considerate to them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about under normal, non-abusive circumstances. How are you treating people and why? And if you are treating people with something less than humane treatment and something less than kindness and consideration, what are you using to justify that treatment? If you believe outside of a request being made of you that you can tell other people how to live their lives, somebody's requesting you, tell me how to live my life, tell me how to be better, then yeah, of course, do that. But if outside of a person's request, you believe that you have what it takes to tell other people how to live their lives, what is that belief based on? Child blind in one eye and can't see out the other. That's what my mama used to say. Good old country sayings. What is that belief based on? What gives you the ability to determine how other people should be living their lives or what other people should be doing? What gives you the ability to determine that? Think about that. Think about what is informing your belief that you know how to do it better. And you want to check and make sure that your belief is not based in capitalism or patriarchy or colorism or fat phobia or transphobia or homophobia. You have to check that because most of us, as I was saying, were raised with those particular isms and phobias as the foundation of what it means to act properly, as the foundation of what it means to be acceptable, as the foundation of what it means to be a good person and a person who is worthy of respect. Why do you get to determine whether or not someone else is worthy of respect? And if you're taking the time to decide that someone else is not worthy of respect, what are you basing that on? That's what this video is saying. If you decide that people are not worthy of respect and humane treatment, then you are just not a good person. It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with class. It has nothing to do with the reality of life. It has to do with you not being a good person and trying to find an excuse to treat other people inhumanely. All right. Now that I've gotten all the way to the spot, and it looks like it's going to be a beautiful spot to me for me to do yoga. It seems like it's getting ready to rain, which is beautiful. Showers of blessing, rain is good. So I am going to make my way on back to the car while we see what this weather is going to do. I will put a part 1 and part 2 when I go in and put the titles for both of these videos. Ecstasy, abundance, and bliss. To all of those within the sound of my voice who are wishing the same for me and mine. And as always, we wish the lessons of life on those who are ignorant enough to wish us otherwise. So let me go through. I'm going to block some of these people from the channel. I am completely and totally finished with this particular video, but I'm just going through to do this block. And then after I have done that, we are going to head on back to this car, child, because it is deeply and totally sounding as if it's getting ready to rain. So we're going to make it on back to the car. Praises to each and every one. Y'all have a wonderful day. Please make sure you get at least 30 minutes of sunlight today. Go outside for at least 30 minutes today, right? Get yourself charged up under the sun. All right. Enjoy your day, guys. Peace.